Okay. This might be the real one now, finally. Welcome back to the show. I am Jack, your host. Thank you so much for being here. This is ridiculous. All right, so that was we're now live. What I'm doing today is side quest missions for GrandKitten Live. As I was finishing up the show yesterday, I realized there were some graphical things I wanted to change. There's still some stuff I want to build, and I thought rather than just doing that and then starting the music show, I thought maybe I would take you on the journey of the tech side of things and show you a little bit behind the scenes of that. So I'm going to look at my list of notes that I have today, first of all, and see what needs to get accomplished. I'm going to take my earpiece out now, so we're no longer monitoring because I heard my voice come up on the live stream, so I think everything's okay now. All right, so this is the list of stuff that I wanted to tackle today, or at least this is the list of things that I wanted to build for the show. So the first thing on the list, need an open title slate that you saw at the very beginning. That was the snow falling thing, and that is basically built. There's still some stuff I want to change with it, but that got crossed off. Add collisions to the GK logo in the open slate for the snow. And what that was is, if I scroll over here, you can see here's the Blender project. And what was happening was as the snow was falling, I have collisions on this base plate down here. But I did not have collisions on, let me pull this up. Here we go. I had collisions on this base plate down here, but not on the letters. And so as the snow was falling, it was just going right through the letters as if there was no collisions there. And so now what's cool is if I pull up the, this, you can see there how when the snow hits the letters of GrandKitten, it actually is sticking to that and the base plate down below. So that was something I added yesterday. And I'll show how to get collisions later. What else was on the list of stuff? Make a mortise for the other two picture-in-pictures based on the new version. So this wraparound graphic that is happening at the edges of the screen, that is called a mortise. I built that. I'm very happy with it. I wanted to show off like my Blender professional graphic work. I've been really into doing like 2D, 3D stuff, 3D graphics. I really like building 2D graphics in Blender because I'm able to get a look that I just cannot do in Photoshop. And then of course, when you pair the animations and stuff, it's far superior. Not that this is necessary for the GrandKitten music show, but I wanted to be able to show off what I do to potential clients and stuff for my professional work. So with this show, I've got this main shot here, which is fine. I don't need to change this, I don't think. But then when I go to this shot, this is where I'm playing guitar, and I typically would have like Logic up here at the top. A friend of mine suggested maybe doing that mortise graphic for these as well, and then maybe creating something for this. I like how this is faded out here, so that way when I'm getting kind of covered by it, you can still see my face a little bit. But I'm going to try and build a mortise for these as well. This is for the side when I'm singing on this side. This is for when I'm playing guitar on this side. But yes, so building mortises for those there. Then set up a better switching solution. So I am currently, and this is what screwed me up with the whole beginning of the show. It's hilarious because now I think this needs to happen. I don't know if it'll happen today because I need to go out and get an item from my garage. But this show gets switched on this keyboard here right now. So if I want to go to my one shot, it's the 0 key. If I want to go to the shot we were just on, it's the 1. This is 2, it's 3, and then if I want to go back to the opening slate, right now it's 9, and it keeps screwing me up because I kept hitting the star or the plus button. Plus button is fade to black, so when I hit that, it fades to black, and that's what was happening was I hit that fade button. Anyway, it should go here to that instead. So this is a mess. This needs to get changed. Not smart to build your Vmix live shows on a keyboard because you never know what you're going to forget that you created unless you actually put sticky notes on the keys, which I've seen a lot of guys do in scenarios where there's just not a great controller. Better to have a proper control surface of some kind, even if you're going as cheap as something like this. And here's a good example of it. So this is like these are like, you can get these $50 all day long. The Behringer X-Touch controllers. These work great for Vmix because you've got a good selection of buttons here. You can see here, it doesn't look like there's anything crazy going on. I'm not sure what we were using this for last. TAVR talent, maybe audio. This might've been just a controller for doing some the audio playback, pro and com. But these are nice because like if you were doing a really basic show and you need to be really cheap, you could put in like you know, camera 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. You could do a preview program button. You could do like, I usually like to do camera, or yeah, I think cameras, cut buttons, cut preview, or cut fade, maybe stinger. And then maybe like if I've got overlay graphics, my 4 overlays might be here instead. And then if I'm just in Vmix exclusively, I can still do audio control up here, and then these click in as well. So like for instance, I could have like my music playback, which is not happening right now. Like if I wanted to start my Skyrim music up, I could hit this maybe, and then this could also just adjust that volume a little bit, and you'd have like a master bus here. And there are 2 layers. So you have layer A, layer B. So if I go to layer B, it's a whole other set of buttons. Granted, you got to remember what those buttons are, but there's nothing physical here to see, which kind of sucks. So like this is not the best solution, but for $50, it's a pretty decent solution. Better solution I found is just the Stream Decks all day long. And so I haven't done anything much for this show with the Stream Deck yet. I just did this before I started today. But what this is doing is this is allowing me to bring in these songs. So let me show the Stream Deck control real quick. If I could find it on my computer, configure Stream Deck, there it is. And so I'll go to this shot here. Actually, go to this shot here, this one. Cool. And so this is the Stream Deck control. Can you see that? I can see that. So for instance, on this, like I just loaded in 4 tracks real quick, but what's cool is you can play tracks directly out of the Stream Deck. This is GK Acoustic. I can bring this volume down, let's say to like 11%. So if I wanted to have a track underneath of everything, and I can just hit this. And then what's nice is you can see it actually counts down the song and gives you somewhat of a waveform. So you have confidence that that track is actually happening on the stream. You don't get an indicator in the actual Stream Deck software up here. This is, you know, just to set it up and stuff. The control happens here. So I really like the Stream Decks for a huge amount of things. But what the Stream Deck doesn't do well is volume control. And that's one thing I may have to change in the future, is setting up a proper mixer for all this content to go through. So I've got better control, but I don't know. For now, it's fine. But that was one of the things that was on the list, was setting up a better switching solution, but I don't think I'm gonna do it today because I gotta go get a piece from the garage. Then we have add a hotkey for the slate and the faded black, which I just showed that, and I did that before the stream started. Move hotkey to large Stream Deck, which that's what we just talked about, was getting all those hotkeys moved over to a Stream Deck so I can see it properly. Actually, maybe what I'll do that could be interesting from a Vmix perspective is, even though this is plugged into my laptop down here, which is not what the stream is happening on, it's happening on a PC, my laptop through the Stream Deck can actually talk to my PC using web scripting functions. I don't think I want to get into that because it's heavily technical. I don't know if it's applicable to like music recording / graphics. I just think I just want to focus on graphics today, but that could be interesting. So I think that's what I might do, is I might put all my buttons on this one small Stream Deck connected to my laptop that then talks to my PC. So then we get into the meat and potatoes of graphic build today, which is build lower third for the show opens. So when the show opens and I go to this shot here, I think it would be a little more professional to have like a lower third that pops up that says like my name and like the show and that kind of stuff. So I've got an idea for that. And then I have, then I want to set up side quest graphics. So this show today is very much a side quest. As you can see here, it is not, I'm going to use this eventually. It is not recording album 2, and it is not, man, it's so hard to find where that points. It's not working title, home is always waiting. The show today is side quest missions. So I want to rebuild this thing with that, but then also more easily, the thing I can do immediately is build out the thumbnails to reflect this, which I started to do before the show started, so I can show that. And then set up different Vmix profile for the side quests. So one of the problems with the way that this is set up right now is in the upper left corner that says GrandKitten Live Recording EP2, and that graphic is not fitting in that position properly because that graphic was built for when Logic is in there. That graphic doesn't make sense to be here when I'm doing side quest missions like this today. So I think that I want to get rid of that graphic up top. Yeah, that makes sense to me. But it needs to be in a different Vmix profile, so don't mess that up. So I'll set up a different Vmix profile for that. And then add music background for live quests. And that's where, let me take this off for a sec so I can go to it. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to be having this music happening in the background behind me when it's not live. Let me double check and make sure I didn't totally screw myself and make sure that this looks right. So this is what I'm talking about as far as the sound not being correct. So this is the controller for the audio interface that I'm using. It's a PreSonus Studio 1824C interface, and the control is fine. Let me go to the main real quick. Yeah, so this is a completely different mix now. So what I'm hearing is this, what you're hearing is this, and I think this needs to be here. So it just matches the main, because you're probably not hearing that Skyrim music very much at all. Parts as well, thank you. Cool, I think that makes more sense now. So this is my microphone direct, but I think what I'm gonna do eventually is I'm gonna get off of this PreSonus, because it's, for recording it's great, but for trying to monitor a live stream as well as recording, I have no like hardware control of this thing. I only have the software control, and I'm doing 2 different mixes, and it needs to not be 2 different mixes. I need to be sending the same mix to both things, I think. So anyway, that's for now. My hope is that what you're hearing is now what I am hearing, and I'm going to put an earbud in so I can hear my phone on the stream to check that actually, and just see if that actually is the same. Give me 2 seconds while I just listen to... Okay, yeah, that's much better. It's a difficult challenge to try and monitor a live stream and then also actually try to live stream at the same time with as many things as I'm trying to juggle right now. But that again, I mean, this is all stuff that's very doable, but I'm building it from scratch over the last like 2.5 days basically. So everything you're seeing and hearing has been built in like the last, like, it's probably been like 3 or 4 days now, kind of. But most of that's just been building the graphics. So I thought it could be interesting to take you along on the journey of building all this stuff out. So back to my list of things here. All right, so add music live quests. And I think I want to put after this, download this track. And it's like a 10-hour track on YouTube, which is ridiculous. But I want to download it, and I want to have it in my Stream Deck or just somewhere where it's more easily accessible. I'm not just playing it from online somewhere. All right, last is make a 2D, 3D GrandKitten cat logo like the Dark Research logo. I just tried to pull that up, and I think I accidentally deleted that, which would be, I don't want to say frustrating, but like it sucks because that logo came out really cool. See if I can find it real quick. So I have a company called Dark Research. That's like my professional work, and I redid the logo the other day, and I think I lost. This was the t-shirt logo that I did a couple years ago, which I liked. But I wanted to update the. Can I just type in 3? Surely I called it 3D or something like that. Or maybe I didn't make it at all. It's possible that I didn't make a graphic that I thought that I made. Hold on. It's probably in my drive where everything is. And then I go to Dark Research. Not Dark Research Productions. Years. Nope. Okay, maybe I'm hallucinating that I ever built a new... There it is. Never mind. It's there. Cool. So that was the Dark Research logo. I don't know if that's the final version that I made, but that was the Dark Research logo that I built in Blender the other day, based on the original owl logo from like forever ago. And I have a cat version of that I built for GrandKitten related stuff. And I thought I should try to rebuild. There we go. That's like a version I was kind of doing. I'm not 100% sure if I love it or not, but I don't know. It looks, it's modern. It looks like a lot of the stuff that you're seeing nowadays. It's cool to be able to build 2D, 3D graphics in Blender, and that's what I'm about to show here in a minute. So anyway, so that's one of the things on the docket is maybe that. Here is the thumbnail for the video. Take a screenshot of like just the video background I've got here, GrandKitten logo on the top. And then I've already named this. I think the thumbnail is just going to be side quest missions. And then for now, down below, tech, graphics, live show setup, behind the scenes. I think that's what I'm going to call it for now. Maybe eventually this will get updated per episode of this type of stuff. But this is the first episode of like tech-related things. But the thing that doesn't make sense here is this graphic here, because that is the teaser graphic, fake teaser graphic for album number 2. That is not the final art. That's just some AI crap generated art that I made to kind of like conceptualize some things. And then now that I have an idea of like the direction I want to go with album 2's art, the plan is to try to find a good artist to hire to get them to make something not AI and way cooler, hopefully. So this goes away. And then what I want to do is I want to get a screenshot from my tech setup. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this here. So this is the Blender scene where I've built the graphic that wraps around here, as well as the opening shot of the opening slate, the opening title card for the show. And I'm also working on building my lower third here. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a screenshot of this setup right here, render image, and we'll see what this looks like if we get something interesting. Might need to put a background on it. Right now I've got it set for transparent. Oh, I was going to composite this too, because right now there's no glow happening. So I want to go into the compositor and add a glow, maybe Star Filters compositor. This is going to take a minute though, because it's rendering in not Eevee. So all the graphics that I've done so far for this, I actually render in Eevee, because it's way faster. But usually for professional stuff, you're rendering in Cycles, and Cycles just takes way longer. So I'm looking at this number in the top. It's got to get up to that 512 mark. I might just need to lower the threshold for how good this looks. Not to mention, I have to put a background in here because right now this is all transparent back there, and I don't think that's going to work for the thumbnail over on this side here. Unless we could just, can I just black this out and then it just sits on top of what looks like it fades into black over on the side maybe? Maybe that's possible. Let's try it. Let's try that. So if I go here, yeah, cool. There's a color fill. And then let me just, yeah, once that transparency finishes over in Blender, God, that's going to take forever. Should I wait for it or should I kill it and because we're not even close to 100. Not to mention, all we're going to really get is like the studio side half of it. Wait, did our samples just... Oh, no. Okay, never mind. All right, I'm killing this. This is going to take way too long. I'm going to bring that down a little bit. I think what I want to do is the lighting in this scene is all based on the timeline. So if I go to the timeline editor, I might choose a different part. Also, what is this? Oh, that's this. Okay, yeah, that's the words that say starting soon. I don't know. Maybe what I had was cool, actually. The glowing moon and everything. Yeah, alright, this looks fine. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my render settings and let's... Oh, yeah, I didn't... Okay, so I haven't actually set up this for anything. So I'm going to go to a 0.1 noise threshold. I did bring this down, 512. Let's go down to 64, which means there's going to be a ton of noise in this. I'm not going to do any denoising. I probably should bring the light paths down. If I brought this down a lot, it'd probably take a lot less time. But let's try that first, because that should bring the time down, just bringing that noise floor from 0.01 to 1. And then I want to go into the compositor, and this is what I was doing. Oh, so okay, so yeah, the compositing, let's look and see what this does. I've got a fog glow happening. I'm going to plug this into the image. And then, yeah, so that's going to make everything pop a little more with the lighting, which is nice. What this is doing is this is the initial image coming in. I'm just running it through a fog glow node, and I'm just adjusting that fog glow to taste and then running that out. So you could see, again, without the compositing. The compositing is just an overlay on the final image. So it's like Blender renders a render. It gives you like a thing, an image. But then if you want it to like, if you want things to glow, especially if you have like a lot of lighting happening, you have to do that in the compositing. There are kind of some ways to do it in like Blender without compositing, but compositing just works so much better for that kind of stuff. It's a thing that happens after it renders out like the real world scene. So this looks pretty good to me. Go back to layout. I'm going to put this back in this mode here and then render this out, render image. And we'll see how long this takes. Now that we're at 0.64 samples, this is going to go a lot quicker. And I think it's going to still look fine enough. And it should look cool for the thumbnail, because you're seeing, I don't know, we'll see how this translates. I'm not 100% sure, to be honest. This could be terrible. Real quick, while that's doing its thing, I want to go back to my notes. Okay, so the thing I really want to try to do is build this lower third, which I have mostly built, I just don't like it. So thumbnail is basically, I don't want to call it done yet, but we're pretty close. Halfway done there. Thumbnail, set up different Vmix profile. That we're not going to do today. Main picture and picture graphic. Oh yeah, and picture graphics. That's going to be the other thing I want to build, is the other mortises for the other shots. So when I go to this shot here and this shot here, building a border for all of this. Almost there. Here it comes. Here it comes. Here it comes. Here it comes. Show me the composite. There it is. See, that's cool. That looks good. See how much that compositor added there at the end? It's crazy. Image. Save. This is going to go to album to live stream. This is going to go to thumbnails, live social. And this is thumbnail 3D piece for side quests. Awesome. Back to Photoshop. And live social stuff. Pop this in. Hey, look at that. And then I think I actually like this over here. So I think what I'm going to do, because obviously this isn't working yet, we're going to do a blend mode on this. This also needs to be behind all of the text naturally. So we're going to drag this down. I'm just going to put it right on top of the other picture. Cool. And then I'm going to open up this and go into blend mode first. And I'll tell you what, this might actually need to be, I'm gonna, I'm gonna fade it out on the side over there. So let's keep the blend mode the same actually for now. I can't remember if I blended the picture. Oh, I'm still not far enough down. I just realized. I'm gonna put it behind the picture because I might have done a blend. No, I didn't. But maybe I can do that. Can I blend mode the picture? Do it. Oh, well. So background's there. That's that thumbnail. That's that. Oh, I think what I have to do is I have to screen both things. So if I do, let's see. It might be a screen. But then part of this picture is there's a gradient overlay happening. So I would need to also screen the gradient overlay. Oh, that looks awful. Okay, so let's go back to normal. And then I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to blend this the dumb way. So I go into the picture, I'm going to do a gradient overlay. Go to my gradients and do my transparent gradient. And what this is, and then I need to set this like this. So it's going left to right instead of top to bottom. Cool. And then scale. I don't know if the transparent thing is going to work. I may have to actually, I think I got to do what I initially thought I needed to do, which is put a background back there. I almost like the background with the checkerboard back there. Maybe I can do a quick render with nothing. Alternatively, I'm curious to see what this looks like if I just screenshot this and pop it in there. Oh, you won't see the compositing though if I do that, so that won't make sense. Oh, I think all I gotta do, this is dumb. Go back into the renderer and just turn off transparency. So under film, so in the rendering tab, if you go down to film, you can turn off transparent, and then I'll have just a gray background basically. Let's see what that does. Render image. So one more. I don't know if the gray is gonna look good, but at least it'll be something. to see if that'll work better. Usually this technique works really well, but this time it's just not doing what I want it to do. Yeah, it's like there's just too much happening in this scene. I almost just need to cut it off. Cancel. While that's happening back there, I want to try and just cut this off. Like, let's at least cut it off here. I gotta rasterize or convert to smart object first. Smart objects. Sorry, I have to rasterize it. And then if we do cancel. Let's grab the new one, save, and V2, save. I'm going to go to, I don't know if I can replace image at this point. I'm just going to delete it because I know I don't like that. It's not working. So V2. Okay, that's already way better because the glow and everything is not just like getting blown out by stuff now. So yeah, that made a world of difference. Let's try the gradient overlay still. Let me set this up from scratch just in case you're not sure how to do this. Before I do that though, I'm going to set this because we're going to go left to right. I'm going to bring the scale back up to just like in the middle somewhere. And then what I want is I want to go transparent. So transparent's actually up here. The opacity, bring the opacity down. And I think it's going the wrong direction, so my transparency is on this side instead. Actually, let's just do it the way it looks like it should go. So instead of being 0 like this, we're going to go back this way like this, 180. And then do this. So now transparency is on this side. Bring the transparency down. I'm not sure that I did that right either. Yeah, no, that's right. I take it back. Nope, I was right before. Hold on. This is what we want. But what we need is for this pink not to be pink. We need this to be like middle gray or something like that. I think usually I go to black, and black works better. Cool, there we go. I want it to be white, I want it to be black, middle gray. There, it's getting better. And then need to figure out where this is gonna get placed. Do I the real question is, how did I do this with the first image? That's not what I wanted. I think I just blurred them side by side and it just worked better. I did it with this originally. I think that just worked in the placement, and I feel like this has, yeah, it's got a screen blend on it. If I add, this still, screen blend, and then if I screen blend the gradient as well, maybe. You know, it's almost like I have to apply I might have to apply the gradient first, and then, yeah, I feel like I need to apply the gradient first. because it needs to actually fade out. Hold on a second. Let's try that. So I'm going to duplicate what I have right here. And then I want to rasterize this. Let me tighten up that gradient just a little bit, make it where exactly where I want it. I like it here like that. I just really want that. It gives me as much of the other picture as possible. Okay, let's try that. So we'll rasterize this so it is locked in. Convert. Rasterize layer style. Cool. So now it is one picture. And now if I do the lighten screen, hey, that looks better now. And then maybe we'll just bring this over a little bit. And maybe we'll blow it up a little bit. I will blow it up a little bit. I was saying earlier in the first session, why is it that I have a tendency, and I feel like I hear this from other people too, so when they're talking either on camera as an amateur, which I'm very much an amateur, or I don't know, I feel like I hear professionals do it too sometimes, but they'll start saying we instead of I. There's no we doing any of this stuff, but for some reason I start saying we all the time, and I don't know why that happens. The other thing I want to do is, now that this is brighter back here, I could gradient that down. Maybe we'll try it real quick. I'll just throw a quick gradient on there as well. Angle this like that. And scale that. And transparent this a little bit. Still, hey, that's a little better. Maybe... Let's see what that looks like. Oh. What did that mess up? That messed up something over here for sure. Oh yeah, that gradient. I think I need to apply the gradients before I do the screen mode. And I think if I do the screen mode now, if I try to screen the gradient, it's gonna like double screen. I think that's what's happening, is it's like double screening. Yeah, that's not. Normal. Okay. Duplicate again. I always duplicate so I can always go back, and then I'm going to rasterize this, rasterize the layer style, and then screen again. Okay, that's much closer. I think if anything, it's like this platform back here. Maybe bring this down a little bit more so you can see. Cool. Side quests, missions, tech graphics, live show setup. And you're seeing, yeah, I think this is cool. This looks fine to me. It's not amazing by any means. I think the behind the gray could have been a lot cooler. But cool. It's thumbnail for now. I'm going to call that good so I can move on. But there is new thumbnail. We crossed that off the list. I crossed that off the list. I am crossing this off the list. There's no we. I guess there's a we because there's a conversation happening, sort of. Do you feel like that you are crossing the list off with me? And that's why I tend to say that? Or people tend to say that? Okay, so thumbnails, done. Set up different Vmix profile. No. What else are we doing? We're doing main picture in picture. Let's go to this lower third. This is going to be the dumbest thing that I try to build today. Because I don't have a good concept for what I want to do here. So back in Blender, I'm going to change my render type back from cycles to Eevee. Cool. And right now I'm on this like camera I set up to do that last shot. I'm going to go back to my scene settings, and I'm going to go back to my camera 2. Yes, that's where I was building this at. So if I scroll over here, you can see everything's over here. The thing about this camera, it is set up as a, or I'm not going to say it wrong. it's camera 2. If I go to the camera settings, it is not set up as a perspective, which is like 50 millimeter, 90 millimeter, like where you can set up an actual like camera lens perspective. This is set up as that word that I just tried to say, or orthographic lens. Orthographic basically just flattens it. It makes it to where like the camera, it flattens everything. There are some times where when I'm making 2D, 3D graphics that I actually do prefer to use the perspective of what the lens can do, because it'll like accentuate and flare things out. So I guess I can look at it right here with this. If I do perspective instead, and right now it's on 50 millimeters. So you can see it looks very much the same. But if I were to take this to like 90 mil, for instance, and then bring this down, that's actually a lot closer to the same, but it's, but where you'd really see a difference is if I took this to like 24 mil and then I brought the camera in. And now you're actually starting to see like the perspective of all the 3D elements in there. And so if you're making something that is like a round object or something like that, you can really get into accentuating the 3D of the things. So the question would be then, it's like, well, if you're just going with orthographic in here, where it's flattening everything out, why not just do it in Photoshop? And it's because like the lighting effects and the way that the 3D still pops in here, I can't replicate it in Photoshop. That being said, things like text are really hard to do here that I'd prefer to do in Photoshop sometimes. It just kind of depends on like what I'm going for. In this case, I want to try to almost always use Blender graphics because I'm trying to show off what I can do that I don't see a lot of people doing. And I think this is one of the cooler things that I might be on to, or hip to, or not hip to, because I haven't seen this. I have not seen sports broadcasts. I've not seen like really any broadcasts at all. Granted, I don't watch a ton of Twitch streamers that try to make 2D graphics with the 3D programming to where you get like this kind of a look. Now, granted, I don't think this design is great that I have yet, but that's what I'm going to try to tackle today. So the idea is I want to try to take from the design elements of this. What I know I'm missing right now is the colorful aspect of this. So I've got like this cool halo effect happening on this guy. I've got the halo piece that's happening around this. And then I've got some lighting effects that are happening here, and down here to add some color. Otherwise, this is very much a black and white gray piece. Maybe these little pieces here could be something. These little glowies that are on the edgings of that guy over there could be something. See how they're kind of like in there? Yeah, let me try that. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is let me see if I can pull this laptop closer to me as opposed to be leaning over onto the desk constantly. Am I gonna screw everything up doing this? Maybe. Okay. Oh yeah, that's much better. Can I lean back? Oh yeah. Why has I've been leaning over like the whole time? It's been crazy. This is much better. Okay. And if I'm tilted down like this, is that annoying to see my head like that? You're not really seeing my face anymore? I need like a desk. Anyway, whatever. So right now this strip right here is you can see it's just a 2D strip. Actually, real quick, let me see if I can turn on. Oh, I saw someone do this the other day. They turned on. It might be a plugin or something where you could see what buttons they're hitting on the keyboard. Maybe I'll get that for the next tech setup. Let me add that to my notes. Add key binds shower. I don't know what this is called. To Blender / Photoshop, and to show what keys I'm hitting. This would be good for Logic too, and Logic. because I think I do a lot of hotkeys and logic that I just don't think about. Okay. So right here, I'm going to hit the /, key to highlight just that piece. And you can see it's just a 2D, it's not 3D. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use a solidify modifier. So over here, I'm going to solidify, and it's going to just add thickness to that whole piece. If I go into this mode here, we can really see that. Cool. So now I've got a thicker piece that I can mess with. Jack and a snow club. Jack, yes. Thank you. So now I've got this thicker piece I can play with. And what I might try to do is, like I did with the indentions on this guy here, I'm just going to add those little indentions. Also, I might do this line that I've got through there. I think that actually looked really cool. Yeah, let's just replicate that, but in this piece here. So I'm going to hit the G key to move it. I'm going to move it along the X axis by hitting the X key. I'm going to move it up a little bit like this. Cool. I'm going to flatten it back out by hitting the my camera perspective. And then I'm going to tab. I hit the tab key. That takes me into edit mode, so I can actually edit the object. And then I'm going to do a loop cut. So I'm going to do a loop cut across the face of this. Or it's actually going to do it across the entire piece. If I highlight back into that again, you'll see it's... Or actually, no, sorry. Loop cut is actually just on the face of this, which is... Oh, because I've used a solidify modifier to make it 3D. That's why. Which is great. So I do that. Then I'm going to go to the bevel key, and I'm going to bevel that, which is basically just going to put a line in it. I'm just going to spread that out a little bit. And then I'm going to make that 1.5 exactly. Great. And then I'm going to use the I'm going to extrude that region. And I'm basically just going to go on the x-axis, extrude on the x-axis only, back like this. That's not working. Hang on. Command Z. Extrude. Sorry. Command Z again. What is happening? Escape. Command Z. Extrude. Okay, so I think before I extrude, I need to do a couple things. I need to apply all my transforms so it like knows that it's just this one piece. Back to tab, see if that works. I don't think it's going to work either. I think the solidify modifier is messing it up, so if I turn the solidify modifier off like this, now it's just this one piece again. If I go to extrude now, then we can get it. But I think before I do that, I probably just need to go ahead and make this a full 3D piece. So what I can do is... we'll just highlight everything by hitting A. And then I will extrude on the X like this first. So it's just pulling it out, making a bigger piece. And then I'm going to grab this piece in here again. Right now I'm on lines, so it's grabbing lines instead of faces. These are just lines. I could also change this to click on the vertices, but I want to click on the face, so I click on the face, and then I'm going to extrude this backwards in the direction we just came, backwards like this. Cool. And then if we go back into this tab here, we can start to see that. Then what I want to do is I want to actually use that same, if I click on this over here, wait, I need to get out of edit mode. If I click on this piece here, I can go to my materials tab, and I can see my materials that I made for this. And one of the materials is material 4, which is my rainbow lights material. So that's material 04. I should have named it better, but I didn't. Then if I, oh, look at this. Just real quick. This is already looking way better just with that line through it. Like, that's crazy how much just like a line through a thing adds like that to give it some character and depth and dimension, whatever. But anyway, I want that to be the colorful thing. So we'll tab back into it. So we're in edit mode again. I'll go back into this mode so we can see what we're at, what we have. I need to grab that face on the inside there. And now what's cool is right now this guy only has one material, the brass lamp material, which is actually was silver. I changed it from brass to silver. I'm going to add a new material. I'm going to select that material 4 that I had before. This is my rainbow material. And then I'm going to scroll down. Oh, sorry. Go back into tab mode. By tabbing back in and then selecting that one face on the inside of there, I can now just hit assign to that material. So now if I go back and if I change out and then go here, cool. And now that's happening. I want to see if I hit play. Oh yeah, and that's great. Because I've already animated this material, I wasn't sure if it was going to line up right with this bar. Oh, but it looks great. So now if I look at this as a whole, so it's a little, so notice how the colors are kind of just changing. They're not really cycling through. They're kind of just like changing as a whole, like it's one LED bar. You can kind of see cycling happening. I need to change the material parameters, so but I'll come back to that. But overall, this is cool. I like where this is headed. The lighting is weird here. Do you see that? See how like the shadows are like crazy harsh here? I have a light here that's downward facing. Where is this other bright ass light coming from? Surely it's not this guy. It might be. It's 2500 watts. I would hate to kill that because it'll mess up my other stuff over here. But out of curiosity, if we change this to 0, yeah, look at that. That's hitting a lot of it. 2500. A lot of my shadows coming from that. I know how to fix it. And this one's over here is 500, so it's not even close to what that one is. All right, so this is doing a lot of garbage to this. I think there's like some modifiers that I can do to make this light not affect this stuff over here at all, but I don't want to get into that. That'd take way too long. So what I'm going to do is see where this light is physically at. So it's pointing down towards there. I'm just going to grab all this crap that I built for this. These pieces. I think that's everything. I'm going to hit the G key to move it. I'm going to move it along the X axis, and I'm just going to move it in front of that light. Oh, I think there's one more piece back there that I didn't grab. What is this? Oh, that's the light. Okay, let's grab that too. Don't screw myself here. Let's also shift and grab the light. Cool. And then, yeah, on G, on the X, and just move it in front of that light. So now it'll act as a backlight, which is cool, maybe? Yeah, so there's that light there, and then there's the stuff. So now if I look at it from a camera perspective, tab, or, cool, much better. That's, yeah, that's not hitting that anymore. I may just have to move my camera back a little bit, but I like that better. I need to add some light back to the front of it. Let's turn this off for a sec. So we are still getting some light hitting this from somewhere. It may still be that 2500. Let me just back this way out and see. Oh, look, I've never actually looked at for this. This is my 3 orthographic cameras, and then I should have another camera somewhere. I don't know, somewhere on the side. But oh, right there. There's my other camera that we built to get the screenshot. I'm gonna try and just move it forward just a little bit more. I wonder if just this light here is still just hitting it more than I would like. But I'm getting closer to something. G on the X. Yeah, I think that did something. Make sure I grab this light underneath. G on the X. Great. And then I can already see that I can see that this piece needs to get moved back just a little bit. Not that it matters too much with orthographic, but cool. All right. Let's see what we got here now. Much better. I mean, not that it looks better, but now I have more control. Before I had no effing control. So now what I've done is I've placed an area light that I've made the right size for this setup. So this is a rectangular area light. You would add that by going to add and then go into light and then an area light. And then once you've added the area light, you'll get these parameters over here. And it usually starts off as a square. If I change it to a square, it'll just be one, like you get one parameter for the dimensions. Change it to rectangle, and that way you can control both the width and height. If I highlight this, you can see it's 15 centimeters wide. You could change this from centimeters to imperial as well, if that makes more sense. And then it's really long with the 482 centimeters. And you can see so let me turn this on. I feel like the letters aren't all the way up against the background. Is that correct? No, the letters are through the background actually. G on the X. Maybe this light just needs to get moved up a little bit. I just don't love the shadow that it's making quite yet. So moving it backwards, moving it forward. something like that. I just think it's way too bright right now. So we'll take this back down to like 50 maybe. And then maybe it doesn't make sense for it to be a full wide like that. So right now it's like doing a, you know, like a 2-bar light going straight down kind of. If I take this to smaller, you'll see what starts to happen. The light starts to fade off on the sides, which is cool. And maybe that makes more sense. Like maybe that's more dramatic like that. You can still read it, but you're getting a fall off a little bit. Let me try and take it up a little bit so it's right below the upper piece. That's looking better. I think I like that better. And then I wonder if, well, we don't see this anymore, which is not great. Let me duplicate this. So we'll right click and hit duplicate object. And then we'll press Z. It's already in the move position. So it's like I've already hit G to move it. So if I move my mouse around, it'll do this. But what I want to do is I want to lock it to the Z position. So I'm only moving it up or down. So I'm going to move it up like this. Cool. And basically all I'm trying to do is accentuate the metal here. And then maybe bring this down to like 25% light. And then maybe we'll move it out just a little bit more like this. And then I'll rotate it as well. So I'm going to rotate it on the y-axis. So y-axis being left to right here like this. Now it's front to back. So if I hit the R button and then Y, lets me rotate it on the y-axis so I can point this right at it. Not that it makes a massive difference, but cool. And then maybe it's a little wider than I would like. I don't need it to light up that much, so I'm going to bring the Y value down. Yeah, there we go. And now we start to really see that, the way that edge lights up like that. And then I think it's still just a little bit too bright. So let's go all the way off, and then we'll bring it up from there. I will bring it up from there, and then I will bring it up from there. Cool. That's much more dramatic, much more dynamic, I feel like. And then if I play it out, we still get that light bar across the top. This is way better already. Cool. And then I think what needs to happen is I think that either needs a bottom edge piece down here to like finish it off. So just, click this, find this piece here. I had these other pieces made that would go on the sides, but I don't think that no, I'm not even going to mess with those. I'm wondering if like these need a backer. I think that if I go with this red like that, or maybe instead of the red, I just don't know if the red makes sense. The red is like the recording light, right? Maybe instead of the red light like that, I will use the yellowish light that I use for this down here. So that's glow. It's called glow white. Should be called glow orange, but things change when you're moving quick, and then I'm really bad about relabeling. Cool. Let's try that first. Glow white. Let's see if I like that better. White. And then maybe duplicate this. I'll show you why here in a second. I'm going to duplicate this letter. I'm going to move it. So it's already in the move position by hitting I didn't hit the G key. It just starts off like that. I'm going to hold I'm going to hit the Y key though. So it's only moving on the Y. I'm going to center it up-ish. And then I'm going to go to, so this is still a text parameter. I haven't changed it to I haven't changed it to geometry yet. You can eventually right click these and change them to geometry, but I can still fully manipulate the text. So I'm gonna hit the tab key, and that actually, that's like going into edit mode. I can change the text. So all I want to do is I'm just gonna create a bar like that. Maybe 3. No, because then it just looks like the third. Cool. Tab back out, and then we're gonna G on the Y. Center that up, and then I think I have I don't necessarily need to make it bigger. Maybe this will do the red though. Might be interesting to do the red texture for this one. That red that I was just using, I think it's material 3. It kind of doesn't make sense unless I had like thicken up the line. Let me try something else real quick. I'm going to add a plane. So I'm just going to add just a generic plane. And that plane's going to start in the center of the frame, which is all the way over here. And you can't see it because right now it's horizontal. So I have to go into the rotation of the plane that I just made 90 degrees. So it rotates at 90 and there it is. And then I'm going to move it on the Y value all the way over there. Cool. That's fine. I'll just leave it there for now. Now I'm just going to grab it. I'm going to G on the X, Z, and then I'm going to move it on the X value until it's in front of the graphic just a little bit. Something like that. Cool. And then I'm going to scale it. So I'm going to shrink it. By hitting the S key, I can scale. And then the Z key, I'm going to scale on the Z. Cool. Then G on the Z is just to move it. And then I want to center this, G on the Y. Cool. And then we're going to scale on the X, or on the Y. We're going to scale on the Y. Basically, I'm just trying to make a backing board to go behind this. I don't know if this makes sense or not yet, but or if this is going to make sense. And then G on the Z. Just gonna put that right in between. G on the Y. Kind of guessing here a little bit. Oh, let's zoom in. And at this point, what I can do is I can just grab the parameters of this. I don't know. I kind of almost like so that fits inside there. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it the same texture as this. So this is the brass lamp material. So we'll go to this and we'll go to brass lamp. Enter. And that doesn't work at all. Let's try a couple other. I just don't think it's gonna be. I don't think it's gonna be a texture thing. Turn this off so I can just really see it. That's like a blue fabric. No, I don't think this is the move. Let me just bring it all the way down to the bottom. This was my original thought, was like having this be a different. Actually, sorry. Start it here, and then we'll scale it on the Z. And then scale, and then change this again to something brighter. These are all just like textures that are already in my, oh my god. That's in the lamp, basically. Fresh snow on the ground. That's what this texture is. Oh, let's play with this one. This could be interesting. So I'm going to scale it on the Y to get it all the way to the edges. Okay, so this is supposed to be fresh snow on the ground, but you can see that's crazy stretched, not looking right at all. We've been manipulating this parameter, and you can see over here on the dimensions and the scale is all over the place. What you can do to fix that is, what you'd want to do to fix that is highlight the object, hit Command A, and then apply all transforms. So now it like settles it back to 1. I also want to set its origin point back to the center of the mass. That's for a whole different reason. But that still doesn't look right. And the reason it doesn't look right is because the UVs are not correct. So let me show what that means. If I go to the UV tab, and let me look and see what the snow on the ground is real quick. So let's go to the shading tab first. So in shading, this is the text. This is the nodes for the snow texture. This is a lot to get into, and I won't get into it, but if I click on this one here, this is the base color for the snow, and you can actually see a picture. This is literally just a picture of snow. That's why a lot of textures always look so good, is because they're referencing real stuff. So what I want to do is, this is called snow probably base color or something like that. So if I go to UV editing, I can change to that. So I type in snow, so there's snow base color. Cool. So there's my snow. Awesome. And you can see that if I click on A, nothing shows up over here. And that's because my UV is not correct at all. It's probably super flat and super crappy. So now that if I click off of it, you'll see it's not highlighted anymore over here. But if I click A, it's highlighted. Then I can go to UVs and I can hit unwrap. And now it's unwrapped this direction. So this over here now, that is a representation of this, but it's not how I want it. I want it to look exactly like this. So I'm going to UV and I'm going to project from view. And now I get an actual thing. But if I look at the snow, like how much of that do I want to show? So I'm just going to scale this up, maybe like this, G, like that. And what parts of this would I want to show? Because there's like, that's going to show me exactly what's in here if I do this right. So maybe like this part right here might be good. And then if I go back to my layout. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look great. It's not the right choice by any means, but it is a thing. It's an attempt at a thing. But I don't think this is the way to go. I don't think this is right. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to brass lamp. But obviously it's way too bright and that shouldn't be there. What I'm going to do for this instead is I'm going to shrink this down. So we're going to scale it on the... what I'd usually do is hit S and then on the Y. Or I'm sorry, on the X. So the Z. Scale it on the Z. And then G on the Z. And just make this a bottom border piece, basically. I don't know if this is going to work because the way that the light is all bouncing. It definitely looks better like that, though. I mean, that's the closest to something that looks okay so far, I think. Let me... this does not make sense at all. I think if I do this, this should just be an object. It doesn't need to be a piece of text. So let's add a mesh. We'll add a cylinder. We'll bring it over because obviously it's, as I showed before, it's like way over there. It's way too big currently. So this would probably be like a radius of, I don't know, 3. Yeah. Maybe 2 even. 2.5. No, let's take a 3. I think it's fine. And then it only needs like 16 vertices. And then I'll bring this down location-wise. And then bring it, and then the depth needs to be way smaller, but I'll bring it forward first. So on the X, we're gonna bring it forward in front of the graphic. Cool. Something like that. Love it. Bring it over on the Y, get it centered up in there. Cool, and then we'll shrink it down depth-wise. I don't know if this is going to make sense at all, but just trying stuff. All part of the process. Cool. And then if I go to my materials, I'll add that material 3, which is that red glow. And then I want to get rid of the text that was there that now I can't see. G on the Y. Oh, there it is. Okay, cool. So we'll just delete that. So X, delete. Now this looks dumb at the moment. Yeah, that makes no sense. Like, there's no context for that line being there. If anything, the line just needs to be the same as, like, this here. So let me just do this, and then we'll go to glow. It was a glow white, I think. I don't know if I love that either, though. Okay, one last thought. This right now is, like, the same as this up here. I think we're going to duplicate this, but without the line through it. Yeah, I think that's the move. So I hit slash to solo this object. I'm going to do this. I'm going to go into the edit mode by hitting tab, and I'm going to extrude this. So I'm going to hit A. We grab the face, and then I'm going to extrude it. Extrude on the x-axis. Love it. And then I am going to loop cut it and do a small loop, but I'm going to leave it black. I think I'm not going to do the color through it, but just so it's like similar. So a loop cut on the face, or it's just going to go all the way through maybe. Did that not work? No, it did. Why am I not seeing that? Oh, because I don't have this on. There we go. Cool, there's my line, and then I want to grab just this front line here. Nope, not another loop cut. Thank you. Back to my pointer tab, this, and then I want to bevel this. Bevel. Just a little bevel. Actually, you know what? I never thought about this. Can I just grab the whole thing and move it? No, let's just do the bevel. Whatever. It's fine. Because I don't want anything crazy. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to delete all of that X. And I think I just want to collapse edges and faces. Nope. X. Edge loops. Nope. X. Limited dissolve. Nope. We're going to find it. Dissolve faces. Hey, that did it, I think. So if we tab out. Yeah, because what I can't tell is if it filled it or not. It looks like it did though. I think, because is that a new face there? Yeah, I think it filled it. No. Man, I can't tell, to be honest. It looks like... Yeah, I think so. Okay, so then if I just make this... Oh, wait. Can I extrude this back? We'll extrude it back. Yes. No. Weird. Yeah, I think that's fine, but I think that... This is getting weird, but whatever. It's something. We'll do this, and I'm going to fill that with the face. I'm going to grab... Oh, I think it did already. Command Z. Okay, I think we're fine. But I don't know if this is extruded the way I wanted to extrude it. Command Z. Let's Command Z all this. I think I just screwed myself here. Actually, let's Command Z one more time. Okay, this is fine. Tab. All right, so I have this. I'm going to add a new thing. I'm going to add a... Let's just do this black fabric here. Assign. And then see what that looks like. Tab. Hey, that looks better. And then I just want to bring it forward a little bit so it's G on the X. Cool. I don't want to go too far with it because I don't really want it to be super highlighted. Hey, that looks cool. And then what I want to do is I'm just going to have the stick coming out of it. So... Is this good content? G on the X. G on the Z. Okay, so now I'm going to grab these two pieces. Well, before I do that, actually, I need to get a position right. I need to, I'm gonna tab. I'm gonna grab just the top face. Tab again. Go to my camera view, and I'm going to G on the Z. So I get the right height that I want. And then ultimately what I want to do is I want to bevel that top. I don't think I can do it with the bevel modifier, but let's just try it real quick. It'd be sick if that worked. Bevel modifier. Oh, yeah, it kind of does actually. All right. Heyo, that's cool. We'll do 3 segments. The bevel modifier, and then I think I just need to elongate it a little further. Tab. But I want it to be in the ground of the thing. So let's do this, so those. Go here so I can see what I'm doing. And then scale on the Z. G on the Z. Oh, my bad. Dang it. We were scaling both of them. G on the Z. Or, no, sorry. Escape. Scale on the Z. G on the Z. Cool. And back to this mode. Great. And we're going to set shade auto smooth. And then actually, maybe the one segment is cool, because now it's just like a pike, kind of. Let's see what that looks like. Is that dumb? And maybe ultimately it's just not worth it, I don't know. And then instead of it being a lit object, we'll also give it the brass. Same texture as the piece down below. So now it's like part of it. G on the Y. G on the Y. Bring those closer together. And then this is not centered. Oh, a little bit. G on the Y. Cool. Then Guess the only thing I would change at this point is I would almost like these to be more colorful. So maybe I should just stick with what I had before with the material red. I think if I do that, then I just need to bring over the material red light that goes with them. Yeah, I like that better, I think. The question is, this stick that's sticking up has no, like, I almost want it to be something. Like, it's almost looks like a mic stand, and it might be interesting if I actually made that a mic stand instead of it just being a random stick. Does a mic stand make sense? It doesn't have to be super practical. Let's look at the rest of the design on this side over here and see if there's any other design elements we can pull from. So I've got these little pieces here. Oh, maybe the star. Like the star between them could make more sense. Let's just do a little copy paste of that real quick and just see if that works. Duplicate object. Sweet. G on the Y. Cool. G on the Y. Because then at least it's a piece that's consistent across all the graphics, or like one little piece from it. The moon might actually make more sense than the star does, to be honest. But let's see what this looks like first. And it looks like it's way behind. Yeah. So G on the X. G is to move. On the X parameter. G on the Y. And then it's possible that actually now this stick could be holding up the star. I did that as a practical thing. Could you make the stick a crescent that illuminates or through in a barcode somewhere that would be direct link up to all your website platforms? Oh, that's cute. That's really smart. Could the stick... You can make the stick a crescent that illuminates, or it is a barcode somewhere that would be a direct link. The barcode is smart. I might do the bar. I think this would be too small because it's a lower third for a barcode to actually show up. But doing a QR code on the main graphic, on this guy over here, would make a lot of sense. Maybe what I could do is I could make it to where this bottom piece down here actually like flips and rotates and then shows the barcode as an animated piece. Kind of like how all these... There's not a ton, yeah, like you got the snow falling animation, but like, yeah, one of these, and it could be animated to like flip into that barcode on like a command key or something, on a command key or something like that. That would be pretty cool. Oh, the star looks really nice though. Turn this off. And I've already animated this. Like, it's nice that I've already animated a lot of this stuff, so I don't have to actually like animate it again, since I'm just pulling from the other design elements. Let me kill this. Actually, what I'm gonna try and do real quick with the stick is just make it smaller and see if... I take it back. What I'm gonna do instead of the stick, I'm gonna leave the stick, but instead of it being a brass like that, I did something like this on this graphic over here, the starting animation. Why can I not pull over there more? Anyway, if I go here, you can see I've got these bars that are like holding up the graphic from up top to make it look a little more realistic. This is using the black steel. So I'm just going to use that. I'm just going to borrow that design element. So back to over here, and then we'll change our little bar in here to hold up. I don't know if it makes sense at all, if it matters at this point, but this was black steel 001. Let me just type in steel. There it is, black steel 001. And then, by the way, the reason it doesn't change, like the reason some of these have color and don't have color is because we're in this viewport mode that doesn't show that. I could actually go into that texture and then go to the viewport display, and all it'll show me is it is a metallic, so I can turn the metallic up on it, and then I can bring it down to black to match like what it should reference-ish look like when I go into the rendered view mode. But let's see what that looks like now. It might just not even show up, to be honest. I mean, yeah, it's like barely there. I say screw it. Let's lose the bar. I don't think it makes any sense at all. I think the star does what the bar was gonna do. And then I feel like we're pretty good here. Like as a lower third, I think I'm totally fine with this. The real question is now, how do I animate it? Like, or what's the animation? Does it have an animation? Does it not have an animation? It should have an animation because that's the whole point of showing this off is the graphic skills that I do for broadcast. So how would I animate this? I think a cool way to animate it would be for the top bar to expand, and then this piece is this, so the top bar will expand from nothing, and then this will come out of it, and as it's coming down, it expands the background, and then the text maybe comes. Okay, so all right, so we're gonna do some real-time stuff that I haven't done in Blender. One of the things I'd like to do is have the text actually come down as if it's coming through this. The problem is I'd have to block off the top up here because that text is bigger than it should be. I could fake it by when I create the animation, having the text grow, but anytime I've done that in the past, it's always looked janky. What I really need is for the text to have a mask up here, so I'd have a plane up here that the text would come out of. So it's like you'd have a plane here, and then that text would do this, but you shouldn't see the plane, and that plane should be transparent for the final image. But what I've not figured out in Blender yet, or like looked up how to do in Blender, is how do we create a transparent, how to create a mask in Blender for certain objects, I'm just gonna call objects. Hopefully AI will know what I'm talking about. To create masks for objects in Blender, use the mask modifier, sure, for 3D geometry, which 3D geometry would be like a plane. Object ID masks in the compositor. Interesting, in the compositor, using a separate render layer and nodes, or the mask. Okay, I think this makes sense. Using the mask modifier. Let's just watch this video real quick. Looks like it's fairly quick enough.
So let's go ahead and switch into Eevee mode just so it looks a little bit more better. And we're going to turn this monkey into a mask using the mask modifier. Let's go ahead and do it. So make sure you have your Suzanne highlighted, and let's go to our modifiers and add, you guessed it, the mask modifier.
Oh,
Dum, ba-da-dum.
right there.
Looky there. Now we've got a mask.
Yeah.
Just kidding. So what we need to do is essentially tell Blender which points or edges or vertexes we want to mask. So to do that, let's go into edit mode on our Suzanne, and we can select the faces we want to mask. So I'm just going to mask out the front of her face. Let's go into see-through mode right here, or you can do Alt Z. That's the way I like to do it. And let's just box select the front of the face here. You know, whatever you want to turn into a mask. And if you
I don't think this is what we're looking for.
Deselect, I'm just toggle W, hold Control, and just deselect any of the faces that you don't want. So I'll do Alt Z, and maybe make sure these aren't selected. So just be very careful. You know, if you want that to happen, that's what's going to happen. But thing with Alt, there we go. Then we need to tell Blender where we want the file collection. It's, you know, like this. Bump, maybe like 25. You can kind of see it sticking out. Just easily.
This is what we want. Okay, that's better. He was masking out like parts of the geometry of a certain object, which I'm not sure where I would apply that. I need an object to hide another object. So it looks like, yeah, adding a controller device. But maybe he has to set that up first for the controller device to work. So creating a vertex group.
Or want, I should say.
So I want to select all of it, and the vertex is, yeah.
So make sure you have everything selected.
Everything selected.
Control.
Okay, real quick. Creating a mask ball. This is what we want. Solidify model. Yeah, I don't care about that stuff. Here we go.
And make a new collection. And notice that it's kind of hard to get that button. So what you can do is hover over this little bar and scroll your mouse wheel, and that will slide that back and forth like that. And so we'll hit new collection and just double click and call it mask ball, because we're gonna make a mask ball. Let's go ahead and turn off our monkey mask collection and get
so he's made a new folder to put the new stuff in.
Ball. So make sure you have your mask ball collection highlighted, and then do Shift A and make another monkey. It's going to come in really tiny, so just crank it up, maybe like 50 is fine. And let's throw some color on Suzanne. The mask modifier is to quickly see inside of my geometry, because sometimes you're working on a design and you're just go into edit mode, select half of the face, like this. Let's do it in X-ray mode. Select half of a face, and then hit H, and then I could see inside. See modifier.
Yeah, I see.
Awesome.
So he's making this mask modifier so he can like look inside of his geometry for stuff. That makes sense. It's actually interesting, but that's not what we're trying to do. So I'm skip this a little bit.
Very cool. So first things first, go into edit mode, select all, and I've kind of hid those, so I'll just hit Alt H, and that will bring everything back. And then now that we have everything selected, we want to turn this into a vertex group, because remember, the mask modifier likes, or wants, I should say, vertex groups. So make sure you have everything selected, hit Control G, and assign the new group.
Control G to assign to the new group. What?
And let's go over here. Look, there he is. And
so Control G is, how does it?
Make sure you have everything selected. Hit Control G.
Assign to vertex groups. I'm going to guess that there's a drop down right here. This drop down box is going to also let me do the same thing. So let me try that real quick, because this is what we want to do. We're going to affect this right here, which is currently still text. I'm not sure if this is going to work with text, but I don't think it's going to work with text. So probably what we're going to have to do, and that's okay, because we're not going to change this at this point. But I am going to duplicate it. So if I, oh man, I do wonder if you can convert. Anyway, we'll convert to text, but what I want to do first is just duplicate this. So duplicate object, just so we can come back. This is escape, so I'm not moving it. Cool. And then I'm going to hide this. This is low L3 text. Let's call it text. Text dot L, or text L3 lower third upper, because it's the upper text. That way I can come back to it later and not screw myself. Where did that go? There it is right there. L3 upper. I'm going to hide that. And then this is going to be text L3 lower third lower left. And text L3 lower right. Awesome. And then, so this one now is no longer text. This is now, you're right, yeah, this is no longer, this is still text, actually, sorry. What have I done here? I don't think I named this correctly. I think my text L3, where's it at? Text L3 upper. Oh, I haven't done it yet. Okay, cool. So this is the new one that we did make. I'm going to right click this now and convert to geometry. So we're going to convert it to mesh. So it's actually, this is I can no longer manipulate what this says. And you can see over here, it's no longer an A symbol. It's the geometry symbol. And then this is going to be text L3 upper geo for geometry. So I know what it is. All right, cool. And so now I can do the thing that the guy did, which was go into edit mode, select everything, go to my modify. Were you here in data? Maybe. What was he at? I think it's, oh yeah, because there's vertex groups there. And oh, you were in modifiers though. So did he set that up for? Did he go to modifiers first, or was he just there? Okay, yeah, he had a modifier first.
Remember, the mask modifier likes, or wants, I should say,
the mask modifier. That's what I needed. So we need to go to here first, tab out, add modifier, mask modifier. Love it. And then it needs to have a vertex group. So if we tab into it, select everything, and then I wondered if he could go to vertex and vertex groups assigned to new group. I think that did a thing. If I go to my vertexes, where? Here? Oh yeah, so it's part of a group. I feel like you can name those. I feel like eventually you're going to have like group 1, 2, 3, 4. It's going to have a ton of groups. It's getting messy, but anyway.
Vertex groups.
All right, cool.
So make sure you have everything selected. Hit Control G and assign the new group.
All these hotkeys that they do when they're in edit mode are so crazy. like UVs have hotkeys. There's so many hotkeys in Blender, it's insane. Once you know where the actual, I wish he would have shown that you could go to vertex up here and then go to assign group. That makes way more sense because you can then find it later, unless you're doing this all the time. But there's so many things that you just never remember.
Group. And let's go over here. Look, there he is. And notice there's not 2 here because we are not on, you know, our first Suzanne here. If we had our first Suzanne highlighted right here, that's our mask group 1 because we have Suzanne selected in the monkey mask. But if we go here, notice it is a new vertex group because we are on a new design layer. So let's call this mask group 2.
All right, so I'll go with his method, and we'll go with mask group 1. Then I'm going to guess I'm going to go back to the modifiers and choose mask group 1. Cool. Jumped ahead a little bit.
And we don't have to rename this. You know, you could just leave it group. But I want to, just so it's kind of easier to see how this is all connecting. So we have our monkey selected, and we need to do our new group. And so now everything is visible, right? Just how we want it. But what we need to do is just crank up the threshold, not all the way to 1, but just slightly lower, just a little bit, like 0.95, you know, something in that ballpark.
Weird.
And now we need to add almost like a controller device. So let's do Shift A, and we're going to add an empty. And instead of the plane axis like we usually do, let's do a sphere and make the radius pretty large. Plane axis. So let's do Shift A, and we're going to add an empty. And instead of the plane axis like we usually do, let's do a sphere and make the radius pretty large. Maybe like.
So I think for me, I think I know where he's headed. The sphere is going to be the item he uses to go into his object to see through it. I want it to be a box so I can mask out like my text that's going to come down. So it's interesting that on the vertex groups, he changed the threshold to 0.95. I'm not sure what the point of that is just yet, but I guess it's showing there. So maybe we'll see here in a minute. But then we want to add, what did he do? Shift A? Shift A, yeah, that makes sense. Shift A. Shift A is the same as add here, which is nice. Shift A, and then he did an empty, and I'm going to do an empty cube. And then I need to bring it over here. Cool. Empty cube. And yeah, good enough for now. Bring this down. I'm going to have this sit right on, that's fine. And then on the X forward. Oh, forward location. Oh, weird. I don't actually see. Because I'm in orthographic, so like I'm not actually seeing that at all. Just go back to 0 for now. 0, please. Thank you. Cool. I can still see the empty. Let's see what he does next.
25 millimeters. Bloop. So now that will be our mask ball right here. And so if we go back to our Suzanne layer, we need to add another modifier that we're going to go more in depth on, but just kind of just follow along here for fun today, just because I want to show you what you can do with the mask modifier. We're going to use this one under the modify column called vertex weight proximity. So go ahead and click on that one.
Vertex weight proximity.
Here for fun today, just because I want to show you what you can do with the mask modifier. We're going to use this one under the modify column called vertex weight proximity.
Is he adding this to the monkey or to the empty? He's adding it to the monkey.
Kind of just follow along here for fun today, just because I want to show you what you can do with the mask modifier. We're going to use this one under the modify column called vertex weight proximity. So go ahead and click on that one and move it above your mask layer. Very important. Otherwise it won't work. So make sure you have the vertex modifier up here and then the mask below. And we're going to do the same thing. So the vertex group, we're going to still do our monkey, mask group number 2. And the target object is going to be our...
Cool, good enough. All right, so on the text that we want to manipulate, we're going to do the vertex weight proximity, bring it above, grab the vertex group, max 1, and then our target object is going to be this empty, apparently.
Little monkey, our empty sphere that we created. So click on your monkey, and the target object is our empty. This one right here. You can You could also use the little eyedropper and select that empty object. And notice it just disappeared. So what we need to do is change our proximity mode from object to geometry. That's looking better. This is our lowest distance weight. We can keep at 0 and then type in for the highest the size of your sphere. So remember we typed in 25 to get that. So we'll just type in 25. Hey, and there we go. And you can toggle on the normalized weights if you want. Doesn't really matter. You can also play with the...
Okay, so I think we're in the ballpark here. Geometry. I'm not sure. Vertex, edges, or faces. Yeah, we'll try verts. So then if I grab this G on the Z, I need to be inside the box though. The box should go G on the Y, or I'm sorry, on the X. Oh yeah, look at that. That's doing the thing. Cool. And then, as he was saying, gotta mess with the... My highest is 100 centimeters. Fall off. It's linear. Smooth? That's a little better. What we really need to see is like it coming out of it. So let's go G. Oh, and I didn't actually size this right either. He did like a size thing. I don't want a G. I want to scale on the Y. Because all we want to see is we just want to see the text come out of it, is the idea. And so if I apply, let me just double check. Yeah, that's fine. I want to apply this scale, all transforms. Oh, that was weird. Command Z. Maybe I don't want to do that. Well, the Y is 2.577. He was saying for the highest value... Oh, I guess it doesn't matter. I guess all we got to do is just see where this lands. So what I want to do is just... Because the whole point of this is we're going to make the text come through it. So I want to see what half the text looks like in this mode like this. Cool. Something's weird about this, though. I'm not sure I like this normalized weights thing. Back to the text. If I do... Stand verts... Because, like, yeah, I can do that, but that's not what I want. Normalize weight, normalize weight. It's like it's doing it as this. Do you see that, how it's doing it like a sphere? That's not what I want. Influence, global influence. Does this still need to be here? Yeah, it does. Okay. Smooth? No. Threshold? Interesting. Okay, I see why he's got the 0.9 now. Lowest. Okay, fair enough. Well, this isn't doing what I wanted to do at all. I mean, it's not terrible, but it's not median step. Yeah, it's weird that it's like coming from the center like that. I don't know if this is the kind of mask that I want. Invert fall off. Invert the resulting fall off weight. Hey, maybe that was what I needed to do. No. It's just falling off from the sides. Sphere. Random. Root. Smooth. Sharp. It's weird that it's... this is not the kind of like mask that I'm looking for. The mask should be super sharp and just cutting off the... it's like I don't want it to mask... I wonder if there's another kind of... Vert mix, vert edit. It's like I don't want it to be a verdict. It's like, I don't think this is the kind of mask I'm looking for. I see what he's doing, but...
influence if you want to, but...
We'll keep watching really to see where he gets to.
So now if we grab this little empty, let's rename it. We'll call it the mask ball, because that's what it is. And we can hit G, and looky there. We can just easily see inside of our object.
Which, yeah,
so
for his
like,
purpose,
oh,
it makes
let's see,
sense.
I
But
wanna
from a
look
graphical
inside,
standpoint, this is not
or
even close to what I
better,
want.
turn on, hit G, and be like, oh, then to go into the object view, helpful. All collection, pop it to the center, mature. We need armature. Maybe check side view weights and just Blender. We want different bone armature settings. Move these over here for a second. We'll hit G and X. There's one. And our monkey mask, we'll hit G and X. And for our
I'm not sure what the point of this is
here, we can just turn that mask off. So again, that is the different ways that you can use the mask modifier, whether it's to use it to hide,
Okay, that's what he's doing, the mask modifier. Okay, we need something cleaner. Mask. I need something cleaner. The vertices thing was not the move. Object ID mask, maybe compositing. This video shows a quick object-based masking trick in Blender. Let's see what this is.
Sometimes we need a quick way to mask parts of a material to show different textures or shading in certain areas. Sure, we can do this procedurally or using UV-based masks, but both methods take time and aren't ideal if you just want a fast, flexible solution. Here's a trick. Create an object to act as a mask. Everything behind it will appear with one look, and everything outside with another. Give it a simple, transparent BSDF shader that makes it invisible in cycles. Important, this works only in cycles.
That'll mess up. That doesn't work for us. We're going to do this in Eevee, not cycles. So
now in your main objects material, add a light path node and use the transparent depth output as the FAC input in a
curious
using
what the end result is. Oh, I mean, it's interesting for sure what he's doing with it. Like, that's a cool modifier, but we can't do that because we're not going to be in cycles. We're in Eevee. 2D video. This explains how to create masks in Blender's compositing section. Switch to UV image editor or video sequencer. Change the editor to mask. Add a new mask. Draw shape, circles, trace around your object. Animate use. This is a minute long. Let's see.
This glare node is affecting the entire image. Let's say, for example, I just want to affect mainly the center of this image. Let's make a new window and make sure that you are in the image editor. In your image browser, you want to go ahead and select the render result. Change it from view to mask. Click create.
This is just for like one final image. We need it for animating, object masking, and alpha matte. Maybe this.
Hit Shift A and create an alpha over node. Connect the output of the background render layer node to the background pin in the alpha over node.
God, these AI videos are getting
Connect the output of the masking
brutal,
render layer node to the foreground pin in the alpha over node. Connect the output of the alpha over node to the composite node. Now hit F12 to render.
Yeah, okay.
Now the mask object is hiding the objects in his render layer only. Let's say we want this object to be visible within the area of this object only, which means that this object will act as an alpha matte for this object. We will make each one of these two objects in a separate render layer.
Okay.
So select this object and move it to a new collection. Let's rename it alpha matte underscore masks.
Yep.
Select the other object and move it to a new collection. Let's rename it alpha matte underscore objects.
Does the collections matter? I mean, it's organizational, but...
If we have any background objects, we have to move them to a new collection too.
What? What's the collections doing? Is the
I like to make these two alpha matte collections in a new separate collection, just for more organization.
Organization. Who effing cares? Just kidding. It's smart for... if you're taking forever to do stuff.
Now, let's create a new render layer.
No organization.
Rename it alpha matte underscore masks underscore RL.
What is he creating? Is he creating another collection?
Deactivate all collections except for the one that contains the masks objects. Create a new collection, and rename it alphamat underscore objects
Oh my-
underscore RL.
Are we making collections or are we making an alpha channel?
Deactivate all collections except for the one that contains the objects that will be masked. Create a new render layer to render the background objects only.
Okay.
In the Render Properties tab, under Film, make sure to check Transparent.
Yeah.
Open up the image editor, so we can see the render results. Hit F12 to render. Open up the compositor, and check Use Node.
He's doing it with the compositor. Ah, that's not what I wanted.
Make this node objects ready alpha. Choose
like,
its type. Connect the output of the
Yeah.
mix node to the
I get it.
connect.
Yeah, this is just video editing 101. Like what he's doing in the once you're in the compositor, you're past like the point of any animations, because the animations like. Wait, okay, hold on. Am I wrong on this? I wouldn't be able to animate the mask, but I could put a mask in there to where if my text pops down through the in the compositor, so it's like in the compositor, that's where my mask is happening, which basically blanks out anything above or whatever. But I can't animate the masks, but I can still animate the stuff. I just have to make sure my masks are lined up in the compositor. Okay, so maybe this works. But this is silly. I feel like I could probably do this in DaVinci Resolve, but whatever, it's happening here faster. Okay, so what's this node? I wish he just showed his node layout. I hate that I can't just see the node layout. So he's got render layer. He's doing a mix node. He's going from his image to a mix node. That's a multiply. Okay, so it's not doing a mix. He's doing a multiply. He's multiplying between those two images. Frankie, are you trying to add an emissive glow, or do you want the text to fade in and out? Oh, no, it's not a fade. If I want to do a fade, that'd be really easy. What it is what I want it to do is, let me bring this back down, G on the Z. So what I want it to do is this piece here, it's going to expand from nothing. And then when it expands from nothing, it's creating this like physical like platform here. As soon as it finishes expand, which will happen really quickly, this bar here will drop down from it from behind it. So that's actually expanding at the same time behind it. And as that bar drops down, this piece back here also expands with it. So that creates like the plate. Then I want this piece here to actually drop out of this. So notice if I put this here, you can't see it anymore, basically. It's going to drop from that below, like it's coming out of like the mothership up top, whatever, if you want to put it that way. The problem is that text is just too, like if I hide it here, you can't see it, but you can see it up top. I need to create a mask above this where you don't see that, which honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, like it'd probably be super easy to do in video editing. I just would crop that at the top, and that's what they're doing. Is they're creating. I wanted to make the mask here so I could actually animate the mask, but like I don't need to get that complicated with it. So yeah, I just want to crop off this top part so you don't see anything coming from above as that text is actually starting. What's going to happen is that text is actually going to start. Let me turn off this. G on Z. It would probably start here, you just wouldn't physically see it, and then it would drop through the top like that, and it would look like this coming through and land there. And then these two pieces here will probably come from the bottom. So like if I grab both of these, G on the Z, they'll probably back them up just a little bit, so they'll come out of the bottom plate. Let's see if I can do that real quick. I think my bottom plate just needs to get moved up a little bit. G on the Y, on the X. Cool, maybe there. And then we'll grab both of these. G on the X, like this, cool. Now if I do G on the Z, yeah. So basically those will come up through the bottom plate like that, and that'll be the animation. It'll happen like within seconds or whatever. But now that I'm thinking about it, because I've made see, if I hadn't made a flat graphic like this, it'd be harder to make just a square composite or a square, you know, mask. But yeah, he's totally right. Like this could totally just be a mask in the compositor per each render. But honestly, I don't think even that matters. I think I'm gonna do it without do it in compositor, and then I'm just gonna crop it, like, because this is totally just flat. Like these are totally even sides. If I was in DaVinci, I'd have to go through and like keyframe, like if this was like a weird shape, but I'm not. So G on the Z, let's do that. Let's go. Let's do it. I just totally screwed myself here, and this is what I want. So take this back to the top like this, and then what's going to happen is we'll start with this guy here. This is one piece, right? So if I do this, yeah, it's one piece. I'm going to scale this out. I'm not 100% sure how well this is going to work, but basically starting, we're going to go to its transform. And we're going to scale it out on the Y. So it's basically going to go from 0 to 1 really quickly. So we'll start at 0. So it's just gone. I'll keyframe that. We'll go here. Let's do 10 frames. So really quick. And that'll now be a 1 key. So now it's out. So now if I scroll through that, that looks dumb. And the reason that's happening like that is because it's origin point is not at the center. So I have to go to set origin to center of mass volume. And if I click on this, you'll see now it's got that orange ball there. That's its origin point. You have to have an origin point to set the center for that kind of stuff. Kill this. And now if I go back, cool. So that's like my starting, sick. And then as soon as that happens, right there, this guy was just going to be, we're going to go, I need to, so it's gonna finish. Let's just give it another 10 frames, maybe. So I want to go to its final spot, so I don't screw myself here. It's just gonna go to location on the Z, like this, right? The location, yes, location on the Z. That's gonna be its ending point. I go back to here, and its starting point will be G on the Z, hidden behind the other one, basically. So like this, but then also so right here it's gonna, we're also gonna expand it just like we did the other one, and that's a Y scale. So it's gonna start here like that, and if I go back 1 frame, I'm gonna take this to 0, so it's gonna expand super quickly. This might look like trash at first, but we'll see. Yeah, that's pretty dumb. I think. And that looks stupid anyway. Well, it looks stupid, I think, for 2 reasons. Oh, okay, so hang on. I think I know what I want to do. Let's grab this piece. I don't want to do scale out parameter. This is not what I want. Let's kill this keyframe and kill this keyframe. I think I want to expand as it's coming down. So right here, I want it to be fully expanded on the x-axis, on the z-axis. So scale on the z. And also, like, I can already see that I'm screwing myself because this has not been transformed correctly. So Command A, all transforms. Oh, no, not that. Sorry. Hang on. Command Z. Okay, so that's its final place. Now, Command Command A, apply all transforms, and then, really? Did that do it? All transforms. There we go. And then set origin to center of mass. Center of mass. There we go. Now if I go back, it's gonna screw me because this should now be 0, I think. Oh no, it's still working fine. Cool. Okay, so the idea is right here, I want it to be a scale of 1 on the Z. Above that, when it's here, I basically want it to be 0.5? No, 0.2? Sure. And then before that, I want it to be 0. Enter. Go. Okay, let's see how that looks. Instead of hiding the text, You have tried to set a shorter lifetime for the text frame while the rest of your piece expands. Instead of hiding the text, you have you tried to set a shorter lifetime for the text frame while the rest of your piece expands. Shorter lifetime for the text frame. I'm not sure what you mean actually. Will you say that again? Instead of hiding the text, have you tried to set a shorter lifetime for the text frame while the rest of your text piece expands? Yeah, I'm not sure what you mean. Sorry. Okay, bring this back. Yeah, I don't like how... I think maybe this top piece... It's almost like it just needs to go ahead and start here, maybe. So these keyframes on this guy just all need to get backed up a little bit. Let's try 2 keyframes, see what that does. There, that's better. It needs to happen like immediately for that to work properly. And then I think just this interpolation on this one needs to be set to in ease out, or in ease in maybe? Ease in. Let's try ease out. You know, I've messed with these easing things so much, and I don't feel like I've ever gotten them to work. I'm not 100% sure on these easings. Either way, this is a good start. Then the next bit is the black frame behind. So this here needs to end here. It looks like it has already been set. I just need to set its origin to the center of the surface. And it probably already was, to be honest. I just didn't look. Cool, that's right. And I want it to end here. What it's going to do is simply is it going to expand or is it going to come down? I think it's going to come down, because I think if I expand it, then the texture in the background will look funky. So like if I were to just, if I were to take and scale it, see how the texture gets all funky? I don't want it to do that. I want it to actually just come down. So it's just going to location on the Z, and this is where that mask will come into play later, but I'm going to lock its location. If we go back 1 frame, I think I want it to end its location here, and then back. Cool. So starting there, we're just going to move this up like this. Cool, there's that. And this is going to look silly. Oh, no, actually, it has to be further up than that, because it has to come out with that. So up 1. Put some more here. Cool. Oh, and that's moving too fast for the other thing. Probably because the easing is different. Let's try this. I set the easing to automatic easing. That didn't help. I think I just need to get rid of this keyframe here. Delete this keyframe. Delete that keyframe, and that'll probably fix it. Yeah, there we go. So now that's coming down with it. And the idea is that it's annoying because you don't see it in here properly, but basically, maybe I can cheat it real quick. Hang on. So if this is the starting point, actually, here would be a 0. So here would be. This is how I've cheated this stuff in the past, and it never goes well. But so I want because you're not gonna see the full expand until here. Well, anyway, when it's here, it needs to be nothing. So I scale on the, I don't know, the Z should be 0. Lock that point, and here we go to 1. So it's basically just gone right there. And the idea is that there will be a mask up here at the top that just doesn't show that. It's kind of annoying that I can't do that with the other mask I was trying to build. Anyway, so then that, and then as soon as this gets here, I want to have this start dropping through the ceiling. So this is its final point, maybe here. And so all it's gonna do is just gonna locate down. So it's gonna locate on the z-axis down, and then here it should just not be visible. Like we won't have it start until that point there probably. So like that. And I'm just gonna get the easing better. I think it's way too fast right now also, but oh, so is that just the cooler? Like, should I just have done this for the lower third, just like that, and let it be transparent? That's almost cooler. Let's hang on, do this. I'm just gonna bring this out a little bit so it just takes a little longer for it to get there. That's better. Cool. And then once that is there, as soon as that starts to hit, these guys should start coming into place. Real quick, I want to start this just a little higher, I think, on this keyframe, so it's easier to mask. And then bring this out just a little bit. Cool. And then as soon as that gets there is where I want these to start with their, but then boom, boom. Like, so as soon as that first flicker happens, I think is where I want them to end. So this is gonna get messy because I have all these other keyframes in here for the blinking animation on the lighting, but so this will be its end point. And again, this is just gonna be a location. So end location, end location, and then pull this back. Right about here is where I want them to start. So copy. And I could stagger these. That might make them look a little more interesting. Enter. Oh, did that? Wait. Oh yeah, that worked. Okay, cool. And that. Oh yeah, these need to start sooner for sure. Oh crap. I'm grabbing all the keyframes. Pull this back to here. Oh wow, still needs to be way sooner. Didn't expect that. Oh, I think it just needs to end quicker is probably the problem. It's cool, but this just needs to come back to here maybe. Hey, that's cool. And then the star, I gotta do something with the star. I think this one's coming in too fast. Stagger the start of these. the end at the same time. 1, 2. Yeah, that look cool. Can you make the star spin like a lighthouse effect? Yes, but it has to come from somewhere, right? So like, I guess I could have it come up and spin up into place. That might be cool. I think now, so this is this one. Let's have them end where they ended before, right before the 40. Just 1, 2, 3. I think this just start a little later, maybe. No, it needs to come in pretty quick. I think it just needs to end sooner. This is all happening too quick, I think, too. I'm just gonna, oh, not that. Second path, this here. So that's at 25. This background, can I bring it to 25? How much is it gonna screw me? Oh, okay, that actually might work. Because again, we're cropping on the outsides. Okay, maybe this is cool now. Something's popping into place that I don't love. So that's happening. This is happening. It's weird. It's on this piece here. Here, I don't like this. Can I just move these forward one? Would that fix that problem? Keyframe, boom, boom, boom. Keyframe it again. I think what needs to happen is the Z transform needs to come up a little bit. This. There it is. Okay, now the background has to get fixed to go along with that. 3. Better. Now I can make this opening animation just a little bit longer, I think. This piece. Maybe we go to here. Oh my gosh. Which one am I on right now? It's this. Oh no. It kind of just drops too fast too, I think, in the second part, but it's close. Let's try and get this star in place. I'll have the star come up last, I think, so we'll have this blink, and then that is where the star will come up. I want the star to end here, maybe. We'll have the star go slow. So star ends here with the position modifier of Z. Cool. It's interesting. It has a rotation already. Zero these out because they don't need to be there. And then it's interesting. It's at 37 degrees on that. It'll rotate. It's gonna rotate on the Z. It's at 37 already, so we want that to end there. So then bring this back to here. And I'll have the star start here. Oh boy. That's weird. Oh, I never soloed this out. That's fine. So it's not the Z that we want. I'm realizing now. I'm gonna guess this is the X or Y parameter. Yeah, it's a Y. Command Z. Alright, that's fine. Do this. And right as these are starting to come up, we will start to bring up the star. Sorry, let's go here. And we'll start to bring up the star here. Bring him down to here. And then I think the idea is we want to just... Oh, so I don't want this rotation. That's what it is. Yeah, I think it's a Y rotation. So kill that. And... Huh. I mean, that's interesting. It's not what I was going for. That's not the... I think you'd have to do that and this. But we'll just choose one. Zero. The real question is, do we negate all this and actually set up this star to not... It's locked to something right now. I don't know. It's really dumb. Well, we're going to end at 0 on the Y rotation, and then before we get to that, let's just crank it up. Oh, why didn't that go down? $461. Okay, I just didn't lock in this. Did that there. And then... Oh, I think I know what I want to do. I think I know how to make this work. Let's bring it down. For some reason, this didn't get locked into place. Annoying. 641. And then I think what I'm going to do is we'll actually start this off. We'll land at the 37.198, but we'll start at 0. Cool. Oh, you can't even see that happen. It's happening so fast. So I think the rotation needs just... maybe just this whole thing needs to get moved up a little bit. So like this. And then we just want to ease into both of these parameters, basically. Ease in, ease in. It's almost like you want it to get there and then rotate like a couple less times. So maybe, what is this? This is 0 now. And this is like 160. So if we bring this closer to 0, and that way the last rotational bit will be something. I don't know if that works. Oh gosh. Oh no. Oh no. Please don't crash on me. I have not been saving. We're about to lose everything. Everything we've all done together, we're going to lose it. I can't believe I haven't been saving this. And I can't believe it did that as well. Like, just a total crash out. Well, this might be the end of the stream. We might have just lost everything. But this is not hard to replicate. I know what I built. I know what I did. Actually, I should take a picture of this real quick before it crashes. I've got a pretty good idea of how to get back to this place. I feel like I've been going long enough on this. This is going to look good. I think this is nice. I'll still have to do the cropping process and stuff, and that's okay. Yeah, I think this is totally a crash. I haven't had Blender... the Blender projects have been going pretty well. I haven't had any major crashes. Only when I've done like crazy mistake stuff, whatever. I'm not sure what the deal is with that one there. The computer's definitely warm. But yeah, we are... is not liking this. Force quit. Come on, Blender. Bring it back. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Well, I think that's been a good start. I still need to do all these graphics here for these sessions. For these types of sessions, I need to fix these titles and stuff. But that'll be something I'll probably do off stream. Or I don't know. Maybe I'll come back to that one. We'll do that. I know I need to fix that. I need to get that done. But you get the general idea. And then from this point on, we'll be able to do more of these GrandKitten Live side quest missions, non-music related. Thank you for watching. It's been fun. I'm gonna do one of these to play out. So we'll do GrandKitten B-side. Thank you so much for watching. It's been fun, and I will see you next time.